The Pharisees are very particular with the law on the ancient traditional rite of cleansing, that everybody should wash their hands before eating, otherwise they will remain unclean. And they criticized the disciples of Jesus for violating these rules. Jesus answered, "Nothing that goes into a man from outside can make him unclean. It is the things that come out of a man that make him unclean." Christ teaches that cleanliness in the eyes of God is the purity of the soul. Traditions are norms in culture, but what is more important is purity in the interior life, and that is uncleanliness in the true sense of religion, which is stain in the soul because of sin. For Jesus, religion is not just precepts to be followed. It is not just doctrines to be memorized, nor customary rituals to be observed. True religion is intimacy with God rooted from the sincerity of one's heart. The essence of true religion is our contemplation of God that results to good action and to the values that are formed from a humble and sincere heart. St. James would put it, religion is pure and undefiled before God, is to keep oneself unstained by the world. Jesus calls the Pharisees and the scribes as hypocrites because they do not practice what they preach. Quoting from the prophet Isaiah, Jesus said, "This people honors me with their lip service, but their hearts are far from me." Hypocrisy is superficiality, a nonconformity of our action with what we think and what we believe. It is closely associated with dishonesty and insincerity. There is no place for hypocrisy in Christianity, as Jesus teaches to be genuine, to be truthful, and to be honest before the eyes of God and before others. God does not want us to live in a world of a split-level Christianity. That is, when we are in the church, we are good, but outside of the church, we are immoral. Where human acts flow from evil intention, even as if they appear as good. Our obligation to the Lord is to keep an authentic faith by an honest-to-goodness practice of charity and genuine service. Be doers of the word by coming to help those in dire needs. And this we heard from the letter of St. James in the second reading. In the Catholic faith, we have traditional and devotional exercises, such as the recitation of the Rosary, the Stations of the Cross, our devotion to the saints, and many other more. These are beautiful expressions of our Christian faith. And we also have set of laws and rules that guide us in the liturgical norms and rubrics. When putting all these things into practice, it is important to understand the reason and the purpose why these laws, these devotions, these exercises of piety are made, so that we may not get confused interpreting and keeping the will of God in our traditional religious practices. Jesus tells us, as we heard today, not to put aside the commandment of God to observe human tradition. Religious practices should therefore be translated into commitment to serve. If the seed of faith is rooted in our soul, the intention that arises from our hearts will be good. Our motives for worship will be pure, and our desire to serve will be genuine. Keep them and observe them, and they will demonstrate to the peoples your wisdom and understanding. This we heard from the book of Deuteronomy. As we observe Social Justice Awareness Sunday, let us pray and let us reflect on our commitment to serve as we are reminded by the Lord to constantly examine our religious traditions and practices. Do they serve them? Do they serve the purpose for which they were made? And that is to know God, to love Him, and to serve Him more. May God bless us all.